Welcome to Coffee Break. I'm Brandie Yates. 'Tis the season for giving, but also the season for increased crime. Joining me now is Captain Greg Frenger from the Meridian Township Police to talk about holiday safety and how to protect yourself during the season. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You kind of perked up when I said increased crime. Are there statistics in your police department about crime during the holiday season?
I just was looking at the last 5 years and the fourth quarter report. I didn't look at the burglaries, but other crimes are pretty much unaffected by the season.
Okay. Sometimes when people are out shopping, they leave their bags in their car. I know that there's a kind of a campaign at the police department, lock it up, lock up your home, lock up your car. What other things can people do to be safe while out shopping or protect their belongings?
Well, and a lot of this revolves around the heavy shopping day where you're loading up on gifts, maybe the Black Friday shopping or something like that. But certainly as you're going to and different stores and putting things in your vehicle, try and keep them hidden. If you have a trunk, put them in the trunk. Don't leave expensive items, though, obvious to everybody sitting out on a seat, because that does increase the likelihood that your car will be broken into. But while you're shopping, there are a number of hazards, and we're seeing more and more of these as time goes on. And there's the unattended purse in the shopping cart, or as you're looking at items, setting things down. So do everything you can to, I guess, reduce the likelihood of that happening by carrying a purse that you can actually keep over your shoulder and across your body. And don't get in the habit of setting your wallet on the counter as you're paying for items. We do have a lot of credit cards that come up missing that way. They set them on the counter and someone is watching, and before they know it, they go to their next destination and realize they don't have their card, and it's already been used. Certainly even at the grocery store, we get a lot of wallet thefts and purse thefts from unattended shopping carts as well. So you need to be cognizant of those things. With a number of packages and being distracted and having all those things a lot on your mind due to the holidays and the stress, if you're out shopping, try and reduce your own stress level and the number of things that you're carrying out to your vehicle so you don't get distracted and maybe fall victim to a robbery.
Yeah, it's an easy target when you're not paying attention.
Right, because you have, again, all these packages to manipulate and get into your vehicle and you're not really watching. So, when you do go to the stores or the mall and you park your vehicle, try and park it in a way that when you come back out, there's a light nearby. As you're leaving the building and going to your vehicle, make sure you have your keys out already so that you're able to get right into the car and put your things away and get secure. If you feel something's not right, that intuition or that sense of things being off, usually people are right. And so go back into the store or wait for a group to go out, and you can even ask for an escort. Most stores will escort you to your vehicle if you are concerned, or the police department if there's something certainly out of order that you feel you're in danger. Call us and we'll send somebody over as well.
And you mentioned the well-lit areas. Obviously, you want to try to avoid shopping at night by yourself, those kind of things. So in a group, well-lit areas. But if they can't avoid it, what are some other ways? You said go out with a group, have your keys ready. Is there anything else for maybe a single person out shopping at late hours?
Well, again, you want to be alert and aware. And typically, if you, again, have your keys out, you're not weighted down with a ton of items, you can keep pretty self-aware of what's going on around you. But, I certainly would not think that you would find too many people, especially during that time of year, that would deny you an escort to your car.
Okay.
If you were out late at night and you saw two other adults going out, ask them to accompany you to your vehicle. Cell phones are a great tool, a great device. One of their biggest advantages is that you can call 911 anytime.
Right.
But you need to get your head out of your cell phone and your face off of that device when you're certainly driving, but even when you're shopping and, again, going out to your vehicle alone. Don't be distracted by those things. Keep your attention on what's going on around you.
I want to talk about gift cards. I think a few years ago it was big in the news that, let's say you buy a gift card for a family member or a friend, you give that gift card and then it has zero balance on it. So somehow there was a scam taking money off of gift cards before they were even purchased. Is that still an issue, or what can people do?
When you buy the gift card, you should ensure that the cashier does activate the card. So there is that process there of putting the correct amount on and activating it correctly. But some of those cases, though, too, were switches that were going on either at the register by other people that were scamming. Some of those may have just been register errors. But those are the biggest concerns that you have with those as far as gift cards are concerned, that you want to make sure that, that it is processed and activated correctly.
Okay. And moving on to charity donations. This, like I said, the season of giving, there's different charities out there looking for donations. How do you know if it's legitimate, or how do you ensure that the money you're donating is going to the correct thing?
Well, if you've never heard of the organization, many of them sound legitimate. Mm-hmm. But the best advice we can give is give locally to a local group where you're actually going to a location to give your donation, something that's well established, churches, other well-known locations. Or online giving is great, but again, go with something that an established online donation that is going to go to a good cause. But certainly we discourage folks when they're out shopping from any solicitors that come up to them, because typically that is not going to be a legitimate charity event. So you want to certainly, it's great, people giving is a wonderful thing, but give to an actual organization that's going to do some good.
Does the Meridian Police Department have kind of a list of what's a legitimate charity, or do you guys research or kind of handle that? I know there's vendor solicitation. There's a list that is on the township website. Anything else for charities?
The vendors that we do approve for solicitation in the township, typically they are selling a product or service.
Okay.
So charities like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, mm-hmm. Or even church things, they do not need a permit as long as they're a legitimate charity. But no, we don't have a list of good or bad, because that would be quite a task to maintain.
Full-time job all on its own.
Yes, but typically some of these things, if you are approached or contacted in some way, if you just Google many of them, you find right away that there's a scam associated with them. I always discourage people, because we do get calls about things that are supporting police and fire.
Okay.
I always discourage from giving to that as well, because some of those are fraudulent. Many of them are fraudulent, but also they're also run by, if they are in fact true, they're run through a fundraising system, and so the actual vendor that's calling you is not a police officer. They're not
right.
with the Lansing Fire Department or the Lansing Police Department, Meridian Township in any way, shape, or form. And a good portion of your donation is going to that company. It's not actually going to what they're saying. So
not going to the cause.
Exactly.
That you're supporting.
And Meridian Township Police and Fire do not have any phone solicitation programs at all. We don't do that. We don't do door-to-door solicitation. We have had some benefits that we've certainly sponsored, and you can find those on our webpage to verify their validity, but we are not raising funds in that manner.
Okay. And kind of to go off of the scams and fraudulent, it's kind of a rule of thumb, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So like when you're out shopping or you're doing some online shopping and it says giveaway, like enter to win this vacation, do you guys get a lot of calls about those kind of activity?
Yes, because a lot of them are somewhat legitimate, but your chances of winning are pretty slim. A lot of them are using your information to sell then to advertisers and give out that way, but many of them too are scams. And you know, you can be approached in person, and typically you'll find that some folks are approached in person because they look like a vulnerable person. Maybe they look older and they have a pleasant demeanor, and so someone will approach them and tell them that they need help with a flat tire, or they need help getting money out of their bank, and they've lost their identification. Can you please cash this check? And I'll give you some money for doing it. It's a totally bogus check, and what you're doing is taking the money out of your account, giving it to them, and now they're disappearing. So any of those things, again, if it sounds too good to be true, it really is. It's too good to be true, and typically, again, they're targeting people that do seem like they would be willing and generous enough to spend some time driving them places, typically, but also forwarding or providing them with funds in exchange for some other eventually bogus check or some other transaction.
It's a shame that these things get targeted around the holiday season when people feel good about giving back, or for example, yes. And are there any other scams, like phone scams or anything like that, that maybe people should be aware of that kind of comes up during the holiday season?
I don't think we see necessarily an increase, but any online purchase that you make, if there's any point at which during that purchase somebody wants you to accept, for a $1,000 item, they want you to take a $4,000 check from them, cash it, and send two back, and they're going to pay you $2,000 for this item that you were selling. That is a scam as well, and we see a lot of these now events where they're telling you that somebody's in jail and you need to post their bond. The IRS scams are continuing, and in some of those cases, they've actually had people go and get iTunes cards and read off the card number, which is good as cash, but you would never pay the IRS with iTunes cards.
Right.
And again, these people do this for a living. They may make 1,000 phone calls and only one person falls for it, but they'll make a lot of money on that.
And we kind of talked about ordering online shopping. I think this was big in the news last year, packages getting stolen off people's doorstep. What kind of things can people do to ensure that if they're ordering things online, not only protecting their identity, but protecting the product that comes to their house?
Well, and some of that, if you're employed and your employer will allow packages delivered to your business, that's a big help. But even there, sometimes you have concerns. But if you are expecting packages or a number of packages at your home, do everything you can to have somebody remove those packages quickly and get them secured off your front porch. A neighbor or friend or somebody that's going to be available to take care of that. Because we are, especially at that time of year, it seems like there are after work events, and you're getting home late at night, and so
the time change, it gets dark sooner.
It's getting dark sooner, and so there is a higher likelihood of that.
And then anything you want to add about ID theft online? I know like the credit cards, the eVIP, that whole chip thing, it's not always 100% secure, especially online. Anything you want to say about that?
Again, if you're dealing with an established company, you're doing business with, one of the anchor stores, Yonkers or Sears or something, and it's an online purchase, you're relatively safe with those. But if it's something that you're just not familiar with, and you haven't done business with before, you should be concerned about it. Anytime you're making a credit card purchase online, the address line in the URL at the top of your screen should be an HTTPS, which means it's a secure site. Those can still be ghost sites or fraudulent sites, but that is going to give you a little bit of assurance that it's a secure site. Any of those pop-ups, though, that people are finding now on their computers, they're being infiltrated with a pop-up that says security problem and to call this number. And then they want to remote into your computer. They're stealing your identity.
Right.
So don't fall victim to those.
And then we kind of mentioned securing your packages at home. What if you're on vacation, locking up your home? What kind of things, when you're gone for a long period of time, what are some safety measures you can do to protect your home? And I know the police department offers a great program for that.
Yes, we'll come around and we call them the vacation property checks. You can fill out a form online. It's secure to fill it out online. You can call our office. You can stop in, and we will come around and check your home on a regular basis during the time that you're gone. So that's a benefit, but I always tell folks that if they're going to be gone, to make arrangements to have somebody park in their driveway. The cars are coming and going. If there's snow, have snow removal done. If it's the fall and the leaves and the grass need to be cared for, make sure that's being done so that the house still looks occupied and lived in. Certainly we want you to set lights on timers and have the typical looking lived in look. But having that, that added feature of somebody physically checking on your house is nice. And even a neighbor just checking on your house, if you don't want to have the police do that, is a good thing. Or having somebody house sit.
Okay. And what about putting your mail on hold, make sure mail's not and newspapers aren't piling up? And then the big thing you always see, social media, people posting that they're going to be gone for a long term. What is your take on that?
Well, social media is a wonderful thing. And even in my own personal life, I've had to tell people to hold back on, posting that information that we're out of the state or, not going to be home for a period of time. So that is a huge problem, especially if you have a very public Facebook page.
Right.
Typically, we all trust our friends, but you have to understand that our friends and others can still access our information through them. So you definitely want to be careful about that, and sharing any of that information should be kept to a minimum as much as possible.
You mentioned the deadly word of snow, and the snow is coming, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Traveling safely with inclement weather, high traffic during the holiday season, what kind of tips should people be aware of for safe travel?
Well, certainly having reliable transportation is important, and some of us have kids that are in college and they're driving older cars, and there may be trouble there. Having access to funds is important, certainly, so having some cash available, but having a snow emergency kit in your car, so a blanket. All of us have extra blankets somewhere in the closets and
Right.
and things like that, so if they do get stranded, they have something to stay warm. Keep your phones powered up and accessible when you're driving, but don't use them as much as possible. Don't use your phone. And then just having a good safety plan of pre-planning your trip, notifying people where you're going and when you're going to be there, so that the person at your destination knows when to expect you. And if you don't show up, to then do something to try and locate you. But having your car up and ready for the road is highly important. The tires and having good tread on your tires and good wear on the tires, but also making sure they're all well inflated. Keeping your gas tank at least half a tank.
You don't want to be stranded without gas.
You don't want to be stranded somewhere without any fuel in the car and have it run out of gas. And basic emergency kit with you is very important.
And probably another big thing that you didn't mention that I think the police departments recommend during holidays, especially like New Year's Eve and stuff, sober, don't drink and drive. And then patience, because more travelers on the road means high traffic.
Yes.
And we don't want to see road rage or anything like that.
Right. And, along with the drinking and driving is also, it's a very busy time of year for many of us. And if you have little children around the holiday time, it becomes even more hectic. And so if you're going to hit the road, make sure you're well rested. so that we're not running into the tired driving issues that you run into. But yes, slow down. Remember, it is a celebration time of the year, and let's all try and live together peacefully here during
Right.
the holiday season. Understand that other people are stressed out as well, and slow down, take your time, and maybe enjoy a little bit of
Okay,
the
and
holiday season.
Captain Frenger, do you have anything to add about holiday safety? Or I think we covered all kinds of different
Yes, we
topics
did.
there. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here. That's all for this edition of Coffee Break. I'm Brandie Yates. Thanks for watching.